Let's do it. Door knocking.
I may Art have to pop off because I'm in the midst of discussing negotiations on home inspection on a something my client just put a contract on.
Sure. Or we can all join it via Zoom and do some negotiations together.
Believe it or not, we got both inspection contingency and appraisal contingency.
Yeah.
So he got a laundry list yesterday. It's an older house.
So it'll be a lot of hand holding, education. You know, I'm actually dealing with this very similar situation now, and I just got an email from, well, first of all, good news, the house appraised. We did have appraisal contingency. We did have financial contingency. The home inspection was for informational purposes only. But again, first time home buyers are freaking out. The house is rebuilt. It's pretty much brand new because it burned down and there's really nothing old in it. So and yet, you know, people are like, oh my gosh, now I cannot call landlords. I cannot call management company. I'm going to have to fix the, you know, outlets and, you know, caulking. And yeah, that's what comes with ownership of the property.
Yeah, mine's a first time buyer too.
Good luck.
Oh no, she's been phenomenal. She's been phenomenal. So
good. Okay, so today my plan was to focus on door knocking. Is there anything else, any other topics that you guys want to discuss? This is your time. It's not my time. You tell me what's really sitting on your heart. What's the weight that you're carrying, or like something that you need help with. This is productivity coaching. We're here to help with anything.
Art, I would say in my case, sorry to jump in, guys. How do you choose what neighborhoods? Would you go and run the list, or just go to, one of the things I'm grappling with is my own neighborhood. And I've got like 2 or 3 other agents that live here and I want to avoid them. I also want to avoid the people that have just sold. So that's the biggest thing, is how do you come up with the list of where you're going to door knock?
Okay. Awesome. That's a really good question. Do you have a dog?
I do.
Okay. Well,
she's at daycare right now because she chews things if I don't pay attention to her.
Yeah. I mean, I think walking the dog is the best form of door knocking. Like, not even, you don't even have to knock the doors. I can tell you, in my neighborhood, I have not captured so much future clients or even current clients since we got the dog. Even yesterday, I connected with, oh, you Art. Oh, you're the one who sold that house. Oh, and it's all started with the dog, you know, I had a nice dog and all that. So this is really interesting how it's from, but it's not like it's not, this is not a business model. Go with dog and go grab a dog and go for a walk. No,
well,
that's
no,
not.
It's funny that you say that, because we have a little dog park and I have 2 or 3 potential clients just from the dog park.
Yeah, no, it's
They're
amazing.
not signed with me right now, but yeah.
It's just some kind of weird connection with dog owners. I used to say that for boat owners, because I had a boat for like 12 years. And in the marina, every boat owner, like, I felt like they were my, you know, sister and brother. It was just a weird, for the most, 90% of boat owners, we were like, just get along so well. And it's interesting. Same thing maybe with dogs. I'm seeing that it's really easy to start conversation. And what do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. Oh, I'm in tech, and become friends and you know, very close friends in a very short period of time. But so now, how do you avoid it? You know the names of the agents, right? Because obviously it's really smart to farm your neighborhoods where you live, right? It's very, very smart, because people, if you just door knock, but they don't know who you are, if you live in different state and you came to door knock, I think you will not be as effective as if you were door knocking your own neighborhood. So what I do, like whether I door knock or if I mail anything, I actually exclude all the agents. Like, I don't want to spend 72 cents on the mailer, because they're not going to list with me no matter what, right? So, but you just go to MLS, to public record. and just, if you know the house, you look at the house, you pull that address from that list, and that's it. Or if you don't know the house, you can do searches on the public record based on their name, and it's going to come up. You know how to do that, right, Chris? Yeah, and you just put a big red sign in front of the house not to knock it, and just avoid it. And why waste time? So that's really has not been that difficult. And I know there are real estate agents in my neighborhood, and I'm not getting anything from them. And I know everybody else is getting, because the other neighbors are telling me. It's like, hey, I'm getting this from this agent. I'm getting the mailing. It's like, oh, good for you, because I don't get anything. Like, those agents exclude me from their mailings as well. So does that answer your question, Chris? It just public tax rate.
Yeah, it does. I still am really cautious about being annoying to my neighbors, but
yeah, well, that's kind of, and obviously I'm going to be, as always, totally transparent with you. Like, door knocking was one thing that's really is the hardest thing for me, right? Like, I would rather make cold calls and then door knock, because when I make a call, guess what? You don't see me. I can just do this. Look, I stop the video. I'm talking to you. You can't see me, so I'm hiding, right? I'm hiding, and you can't see my face expressions. But when you're in front of the homeowner and they open the door and he's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. They can see it, right? But I know the reason we have this call today about door knocking is because I know a lot of agents who build massive businesses and continue to build massive businesses through door knocking. And probably I'm gonna ask one of them maybe to join a call in the near future. He works with Rob Chavez, and he is actually, I think he closed, like, whether it's 50 or 100 homes, like in the last 12 years in Gainesville, and just through basically door knocking. So it is very lucrative way of doing business, but we have to discuss on how to do it, what are the tools that you can use, and what do you say when you door knock, and what kind of objections you're going to have, and what are the best times to door knock. Like, I think those things are important for you to know if you're going to venture and do it. And I know we'll ask Vinny to share his experience, because he's doing something else instead of door knocking. I think he puts some door hangers, and we'll talk about this a little bit maybe. Yeah. So before we really dive into door knocking, Marsha, Catherine, Matthew, we have two Catherines. Yeah, you logged in twice. Maybe it's another Catherine. So we will. Is there anything else outside the door knocking that you would like to discuss today, or you need help with?
So I heard Vinny is good at door knocking. Mm-hmm. Is that true, Vinny?
I was forced to. I started off with my wife and I, and she chickened out. But what we do is we take a dog, and I take one of my beautiful granddaughters, and we make it act like we're on a walk, and I stop in front of each house, and I walk up to the front door, knock, ring the doorbell. Hi, this is Vinny. How you doing? This is my wife, Janie. We're walking the neighborhood, just chatting with people and wondering if anybody is interested in selling or knows anybody that wants to sell, or if you just want to know something about your house. We're here to help you. Hope you have a good day. Most of them, because it's face-to-face, will talk to you a little bit. We have not gotten anything that way yet. Okay. And we strictly pretty much stay around our neighborhood. But what we'll talk about later is I've been doing doorknob holders. I've been getting thousands of them from Jocelyn. And I pick 5 neighborhoods, and I pay several people to hit those neighborhoods every 2 to 3 weeks. I just got our first.
Is it working?
Listing. Yes, it's just starting to work. We got our first listing about 2 weeks ago. It's already under contract. Now we just hit 2 more neighborhoods last weekend. And then next weekend we'll hit another 2 neighborhoods. For the cost of the money that we have spent and got this listing, it was nothing. So
Can you share who's been doing that for you? I mean, it's easy enough to talk to Jocelyn or another lender to help with that. Can you share the little package that you're doing?
Jocelyn Lasher,
Yeah.
they make a little door knock thing about foot long. It's got you and all your information on it, then Jocelyn's information on it. So you're helping Jocelyn at the same time, because if they turn into being a buyer, now Jocelyn has business.
Right.
So, and she splits the cost. So you don't have to pay for the whole box. She pays for half the box.
That's fabulous. Well, then who's distributing it? What's the team that's distributing it?
Who?
Yeah, you said you pay some people to distribute them.
Yeah, I have a young lad, about 14 years old, and I stick him in all the townhouses that have lots of steps. And he'll do 500 for $100. And then I have a nice, really nice couple, young, 30s, look good. And I do the same thing. I give them $100 to do 500 flyers. And I'm pretty much almost every other weekend, we're now hitting neighborhoods, and we're doing the same neighborhood every month, once a month. So we're doing 5 neighborhoods right now.
What's on the flyer?
I don't have any with me, but basically the top part of it is a picture of my beautiful wife and I, and it explains that if you want to buy, you want to sell, we'll give you a free CMA. We'll come talk to you. Let us help you make your dream. And then on the bottom is all about Joshua and her financing. We can help you with this and that. It's good looking. It's not tacky whatsoever. Very professional.
Who designs it?
Jocelyn.
So she has a template. You just plug and play, basically.
Probably, yeah.
Mhm.
I've had Jocelyn do something for me a year ago for putting at a business. It was a bridal shop, and doing the same thing, putting that kind of information, that I would leave it at the shop. So.
Got it. That's awesome. So that's and Vinny is already having first listing as a result. So tell us, how did it go? Are you sure that's a result of that door hanger?
5 minutes after the guy got it, he called my wife, both our phone numbers. Not me. I'm not good looking. Called my wife. And hour later, we're over there. 2 hours later, we have a listing. Here 2 weeks later, we're waiting on the bug inspection. And that's our really only contingency besides appraisal.
So this will pay for probably a few more months of marketing efforts, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, it's an
everything we do.
investment in your business is what it is. You have to look at things like that. If they work, it's an investment in your business.
Yeah, you look at what's the
Right.
ROI, right? Like how much you
Mhm.
spend and how much you bring in.
500, 1,000 flyers were $200, and it cost me $200 to put them out. So it cost me $400
To get them.
to get this listing.
Right, but this is first. Now we have to continue tracking it on basically on the rolling 12 months to see how many because obviously from my experiences, sometimes you get extremely lucky, right? Like I did my first mailing and I did get a listing, and my mailing was just listed postcard, and I got a listing. It's like, oh, this is a jackpot. And then I never got another one. So sometimes it's luck, but once you continue to do this, Vinny, if you the way you do it, I think it's going to work. I'm pretty sure it's going to work, because if you continue to come back to the same neighborhood every month, and people will start seeing your flyers, and some people will start hating you for like putting cash on their, but who cares about the people who don't like you, right? Like you care about people that that will do business with you. Yeah, so it will work.
We're content.
But so you basically you have to have someone who would do it inexpensively as far as the distributing, and you need to trust those people, because if you just find someone on Craigslist and you give them $100, they will throw those flyers in
Yeah.
the garbage can, and you'll say, well, it doesn't work, right?
I have trustful people.
Yeah. Because if you had to do it yourself, it's really labor intense.
Yes.
Yeah, it would take a lot of time.
It takes them about
Do
a
you
half
think
a
that
day.
other couple would want to take on more business, Vinny?
No,
Vinny, where did you find the individuals who were willing to do these distributions for you?
the young man that I have doing it, I had him start mowing my lawn last year. So he does odd jobs for me. And the couple are a friend of Jane's. And so we know these people and we trust these people. Yes.
Okay.
My biggest fear would be getting someone who puts out about 50, then throws the rest of them away.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you want to know who you're dealing with.
Marsha, if you would like help, I would be happy to help you.
Who is speaking?
Matthew, Matt.
Matthew.
Oh, Matthew. Okay. Oh,
Matthew, it
yeah.
was me who asked.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I'll help you also.
Yeah, Chris and Marcia, look, Matthew, you have 2 clients, but now the key
Can I
is
see
they
your
need to be
face, Matthew?
delivered.
Yeah.
You have to earn trust, Matthew.
Thank you. Good to know.
No
No,
problem.
Matthew worked with me 2 weeks ago on an open house. So
Great. Are you
Yeah.
Kara's friend?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, but you know what, Chris and Marcia and Matthew, I think it's really easy to confirm, because you're putting the flyer on the door handle. All I have to do, drive at night with a flashlight, just drive around the neighborhood. It will take me like 5 minutes, and I see if there are, if there are flyers on the door handles. If they're not, that means they ended up in the trash can. But if they all distributed, the 1 or 2 missing, maybe people grabbed it, then trust but verify, right? It's easier to drive around in the car than
And make sure it's not a windy day.
that's true. There you go.
Or rain.
Well, I'm not getting wet. I'm just worried about them blowing off.
Yeah.
Well, I just received in the mail yesterday from a agent that's out of Fairfax. I live in Herndon, so I'm right on the county line of Fairfax and Loudoun. He is advertising that he's got a buyer that will pay all sellers not closing costs, but their realty fees. So he's
Okay.
distributed all over this area looking for, I guess maybe there's a buyer looking for something in this area. So that was interesting.
So the agents are getting very, very creative how to get their phone to ring, because they do know that any listing will sell, and any gimmicks you can come up with, you're going to include just for the seller to get their curiosity to call you, right? Like, I know many teams are running those campaigns now, like large teams. Hey, buyers will pay your all the commissions, and that's all gimmicks, right? Like, it's, hey, we're going to list it aggressively on the price will escalate, and this and that, the escalation, you say, well, this is the commission that you would have paid us. It's seriously, like, it's the same thing, right? Hey, let's not escalate the contract, but you pay the commission. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It really, there's no difference. It's just, these are all different.
What,
ways.
where can we get a list of fees that the sellers can pay? Because I know that there are limits to that.
So what do you mean? What
I
sellers? can-
thought there are certain things that
You
that
talking
can't be
about buyers?
paid and the seller must pay.
No, so seller pays their fees and buyer pays their fees. That's how
I know that.
right? And so in Maryland, for example, there's a little bit different because you can negotiate who pays that. Whether seller, it's usually 50-50, but you can make changes. But in our world in Virginia, seller pays 0.35 now, I guess. Decongestion or 0.25, 0.35, I think is now.
The congestion fee?
Yeah, decongestion, transfer, whatever tax it is, and then they pay about $850 to record to prepare the deed, to record the deed, to pay off your mortgages and the broker fees. That's all for the seller. Like seller closing cost is very easy to calculate. Broker fee, decongestion relief, and then about $800 to the title company to do the.
Okay. So basically we can ask them to pay all that. Reason why I ask is because I just got a phone call from my neighborhood from an agent that heard that I might have 2 listings coming up, and they want to buy off market. So I'm trying to think about how I'd position it to the 2 potential clients I know that might sell.
Is there a best time, Vinny, to put those flyers on when you think people are grabbing them? Like, what's the best time to do? For door hangers, you're on mute.
Saturday, when I know they're home and after 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really in a line with door knocking. Saturdays, if anyone wants to do like a real door knocking, instead of putting flyers, if you're like, oh, I don't have a budget to print flyers, if you door knock, Saturday is the best day. As Vinny said, like 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m. A lot of people in the house or working in the yard or just hanging out, and you'll get to see a lot of people. Saturdays is by far the best day. So Vinny says it really works good for flyers or door hangers as well, because if they're home, chances are they will get to it before the wind blows it away. Mm-hmm. And for like, again, if you look at the neighborhoods, my challenge was like, I wanted door knocking to be like kind of treated as like do it during the business hours. But if you are before COVID, if you door knock the neighborhood that it's professional people who go to work, and you door knock, 9 to like 12, you're not getting many people. And if you are in the retirement community, you'll get a lot more people to answer the door. Now during COVID, I think there are a lot of professionals who work from home, so you might get better result as far as how many people will open the door. If you are serious about door knocking, I recommend using some kind of app to track it, and there are multiple apps available. Have you used anything, Vinny, to like track, monitor, or you not?
We just know the neighborhoods we're doing and keep going to the same neighborhoods
Once a month?
once a month.
Mhm.
But we only started this hardcore about a week after Christmas.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you deliver the same thing, Vinny, or is it a different piece of collateral each time?
That's the same one.
Okay.
And assume it has call to action, such as to find out what your home would sell for in today's market, call Vinny and Jane and start packing, right? Something like that, and the phone number. Okay, so as far as apps, there's quite a few. If you go to the App Store, there's no shortage of apps. And I think that if you want to be strategic and like not get lost in who needs to follow, which person needs follow up, you're probably going to want to start using some technology. You can't just print all the addresses on a piece of paper and make notes. If like, hey, I saw this guy, he was like weeding the garden or something, and you can make a note like this and we talked, or you can just use an app, and there's apps like Door Knock Pro, Sales Rabbit, like Clockwise. There's a lot of apps. I think one of the more known is like Sales Rabbit. But again, it's just many of them are free. You can just download and try them out, see which one works. But this will allow you to like block the homes that you don't want to enter in or make notes, so you can easily go back and look at the notes and see what was discussed and what kind of results you had. Now, did any of you try door knocking, like real door knocking?
Yes,
Who said yes?
that was Marcia.
Okay, Marcia.
I've done some door knocking. I started out in a smaller neighborhood in the, it's off of Cascades Parkway.
Mhm.
Because I have a friend who used to live back there. 77 homes. I figured it was doable. I did it several times last year. It's a neighborhood that very rarely anything comes up for sale. And then there was one that came up, early last year that did. So I'm still trying to go back in there. And I also met a lender who lives back in there as well. So I still go back there, and I still need to go back there again and do something.
How many homes you said?
It's 77 homes.
So that's the mistake that we make often, is when we go after the neighborhoods that are too small. And so if you go to the neighborhood, like my neighborhood, for example, is 166 homes, and it's too small. Like what really works, and I read about this years ago. It was like, oh, if you market yourself, the neighborhood needs to have at least 400 or 500 homes. And if the idea is, if the neighborhood is large, you will have an opportunity to have for sale sign more likely than in the neighborhood that only has 77 homes. If the attrition is like anywhere 5%, so in the best year, maybe 1 or 2 homes will sell in that neighborhood. So you have to capture 100% of the listings in the neighborhood in order to have your sign once a year in that neighborhood. Because you do need a sign, like really sign goes along with door knocking, with flyers, with everything. Like the whole game changes when you put for sale sign in that neighborhood. Until there's a sign, you are nothing.
Yes, right.
And so I'm facing the same challenge in Hunter Mill Estates in Vienna, where I used to live. It's also about 160 homes. And when during a good year will be 6-7 homes that will sell in that neighborhood, and I would capture 2 or 3 of them. So I was killing it for many, many years. And then there were a couple of years that there was little turnover in that neighborhood. I couldn't capture anything. I had no for sale signs. I had no directional signs, and all my efforts went to zero. And now, like 2 or 3 years, I haven't had a listing in that. And I mail it, I do things, yet it's not working. So that's really a pain of a small neighborhood, like that. If the neighborhood is, let's say it's 500 homes, and 5% of them will sell any given year, so that's 25 homes sold. Out of 25, you can actually expect to capture maybe 15-20%. And here you go, you have 3-4 homes that you're selling in that neighborhood. So that's really I think I really took a long time for me to understand that concept. Yet the beauty of the small neighborhoods, if you live in it, it's a neighborhood where people know you, right? Like if you're involved, if you walk your dog, if you get to talk to neighbors, people will know you better than if you would just drove up strictly to door knocking, right? So that's the advantage. But it's really extremely difficult, Marcia. I'm like struggling with like marketing in the neighborhoods that are small, and I don't see like one agent really like dominating like such small neighborhoods. It's really weird how it is. I think people forget you by the time you get another listing. It's kind of
Yeah.
and like if you imagine like Marcia signs are like 2 or 3 signs in the neighborhood at any given time, you almost like, you don't have to do anything. Like people are going to assume that Marcia is the person who sells all the homes. Like I remember in my good days in Hunter Mill Estates, I would just get sign calls and following listings from the sign calls. Like, hey, I see you sell all the houses here. Like, can you help me sell mine? Right. That very, very easy call to take. So when you look at door knocking, and seems like Vinny is kind of figured it out, and you saying what? How many homes total you covering now?
About 2,000.
Hmm.
Wow, okay.
So 2,000, but they're like separate neighborhoods, right?
Yes.
But they close to each other, I assume.
Within a half a mile.
So 2,000 times 20 cents, so $400 for the print, and about 400 for distribution. So you're looking about 800 a month, I guess, in expense.
It's about 1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yep. $1,000.
1,000 flyers a month. So it's about $400 a month we're spending.
Oh, so you're not mailing to 2,000 homes every month.
No, it's 1,000 a month. We're flipping over, rotating.
Mm-hmm. So the same homes are not getting same flyer every month.
Right. A month, 2 months later, they'll get it.
Every other month. Okay, got it. Okay, wonderful. So as far as going back to door knocking, Marcia, what kind of script have you been using?
I'm just basically talking about just, the idea about the market. And I know this one particular small neighborhood has very little turnover. Just saying that, you've been, obviously this neighborhood is, it's a quite little super neighborhood. So I basically say, do you realize, that, with the market it is, you have a very good investment in your home. Have you considered selling it? And I go into that kind of script or just talk. I try to keep it very conversational. I don't have a dog, and now after this meeting this morning, I may end up getting a dog. Who knows what'll happen? But I just try to keep it very conversational about how long they've been here, what are their goals for the year in terms of anything with real estate. And usually it just comes into, yes, I'm interested, or I've been really thinking about it, just haven't taken the hit. Unfortunately, I haven't had anybody decided to do any listings or anything yet from this, but I've done things where, like in November, I think it was Veterans Day, I sent around, one thing I did with Jocelyn is she had a Veterans Day special where anybody who was a veteran could get a free appraisal if they were to purchase something. So I sent around with the American flag, along with the flyer with information from us and Jocelyn about this program, distributed that. I did get some inquiries about it, but nobody decided to do anything. I would say I've been a little lax this winter, haven't gone back over there yet, but I need to pick it back up. But that's kind of what it's been. They don't have a lot of listings going on anytime soon. They've only had one in the last, say, year and a half, 2 years. And then before that, this neighborhood barely sold anything in a decade.
Yeah. So that's really, I think that's like kind of in you answered your question, like basically that it's better to go to the neighborhoods that have turnover. If people are not moving, you can door knock all you want. They just like you're not moving, right? Like you, and you are better off in the neighborhoods that have 5-6% turnover and they have more homes. Because once you get your first listing, you are very likely, if you continue to door knock or put hangers, now the sellers are connecting the dots. They saw Vinny's sign. They remember the door hangers, like, man, now it seems like Vinny is dominating this neighborhood. Like I see him all over the place. I see his directional signs. I see his open house signs. I see his door flyers. You become like this, even though you just sold one house, but in the seller's mind, you might be like, man, he's all over the place. He must be the guy who has all the buyers in the neighborhood, right? So very, very important. Now, as far as when you door knock, like there are different scripts to use. You can say, hey, I'm a market specialist, and here's all the sales that happened in the neighborhood. Like, because in the normal market, when there's balance of buyers and sellers, usually, like you're not going to say, oh my gosh, there's shortage of homes in the market because there's 5 homes on the market in the same neighborhood. So what the item of value for people usually is your market stats, like as far as actives, pendings, and closed, let's say in 12 months in that neighborhood. So you just print that from multiple listing service on synopsis of all the sold homes, and on that sheet of paper you have your contact and basically call to action to find out what your home would sell for. Call Art and start packing, or to get a free, no obligation home evaluation, call Art, right? And then that's that type of flyer. Like I've done that in my neighborhood, and you just knock on the door, they open the door and say, hey, how you doing? This is Art. I'm a local market specialist. Here are all the recently sold, active, and under contract homes. And here you go. There's no charge for it. I'll just give it to you. And do you guys have any plans on making a move? Or do you know of any neighbors who are looking to sell in the next 6 months? And many others, I'm not interested. Thanks, man. Close the door, right? And you just go to the next one. And the other ones will be very talkative. And hey, yeah, I've heard Susie might be like, I remember I would get so excited where I get like tips, like, oh, this house right there, they definitely gonna sell. Like I know they're gonna sell. I run into that house and I door knock, and I keep coming back to the same house for next 3 months, and they never sold the house, right? So don't get too excited. Sometimes you get leads that are not quite accurate. But so that's very, very simple script. Now in today's market, where it's really there's nothing on the market, you can definitely leverage the buyers that our office has. We actually work with 300-400 buyers like every year. So if you don't have your own buyers, you leverage Keller Williams Realty Dallas buyers, right? Our broker, we work with 300-400 buyers every year, and then we're looking for listings. You guys have any plans of selling? Do you guys think really, like between us here on this call, if you can find a listing in Sterling, in Leesburg, in Ashburn, like chances are very, very high that we have a buyer actually in our office currently working with one of our agents. We have the coming soon page. We have different ways to communicate amongst our agents. But the idea is, again, you leverage that, like you use that as a tool, say, because what sellers want, like let me tell you this as a listing specialist. Sellers, all they want is buyers. They don't want no marketing. They don't want to have an agent who has top 1% or received all the awards and has 25 C Pro, C DPP, like whatever the name that you cannot even understand, like has different letters after it. As a real estate professional, I don't know what those letters mean, like, or all the certifications. Sellers want only one thing. They want buyers. And so if you are having conversation, if Catherine or Marcia or Matthew or Vinny, if you project yourself that you are the agent with all the buyers, you're not going to have trouble getting listings. So when you door knock in current market, and if you don't have a single buyer that you work with, Say we work with about 300 buyers every year in our office, and we struggling. We can't find any homes. Do you know, like what I like asking people, like, do you know if any neighbors who are planning on selling? So I don't ask them usually directly, do you want to sell the house? Because like people don't like, it's like, like, I didn't call you, you knocked on my door and like you asking me to sell my house, like get out of my house. Like I don't want to talk to you. But if you ask them, do you know if anyone else, do you know if anyone in this neighborhood planning on selling? Obviously, if they are planning, they will tell you, right? You don't have to ask that. If you're asking about any other homes, if they were thinking about selling, they will definitely say, hey, Vinny, I don't know, like you must be reading my mind. I am thinking about selling, right? But so that's really, really simple. Don't have to overthink, just have business card. If you want to bring, if you don't like to be empty-handed, the item of value again can be just a printout of all actives, pendings, and solds in the last 12 months or last 3 years, if it's a small neighborhood like Marcia's door knocking. Were you asking something, Catherine?
Yeah, I had a question. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hate to play devil's advocate here, but if you're going to people and telling them, hey, I have all these buyers behind me, are you afraid with the way the market is right now that they might get a little gun shy because they themselves won't be able to find a house and think, oh my gosh, yeah, there's all these buyers looking to find a house. Why should I sell my house right now if I can't find a house myself?
I could not hear you, Catherine. Can you like close? Yeah, use it.
Yeah, is that better?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was saying, I hate to play devil's advocate here, but if you're going to these sellers saying, hey, I have 500 buyers behind me who are looking for, a place to buy, how would you not, as a seller, I think that would make me a little gun shy, because if I'm trying to find a house myself and you know that there's all these buyers, it's like, wow, yeah, we can sell our house quickly, but where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Maybe we should just wait, not sell. How do you deal with that?
Right. So this is like, I think that what I meant by saying, hey, we work with a lot of buyers, this is like a conversation starter. I don't think you're gonna have this long conversation around the amount of buyers that we produce, or our agents in our office, our colleagues are currently working with, right? Like, but that's buyers. Like if you sign up now to coaching program, to MAPS, Craig Proctor, any other coaching that I've been in many years, you will be paying $1,000 to $1,500 a month to learn that, to like leverage the buyers. Like this is the key. This is a $100,000 lesson. Like you go through coaching to learn that, like that you want to leverage the buyers that you have to get your foot in the door. But that's not where the conversation will be. Like you say, hey, we'll work with a lot of buyers. That's why I'm here, right? Like I'm Catherine. I'm the one who has access to all the buyers. Now, you guys planning on moving? No, yeah, maybe. Okay, well, if you were to move, where would you go? Oh, we would go to Florida. Nice. What part of Florida? Oh, West Palm Beach. Oh, I love West Palm Beach. I visited my aunt in West Palm Beach a couple of years ago. What a beautiful place. So what's your timing? Oh, well, we don't know. We don't know if we can find a house and blah, blah, blah. Like, well, if you can find a perfect house in West Palm Beach in the next 3 months, would you consider selling your home? Oh, absolutely. Oh, very good. Now, do you work with an agent in Florida? No, we actually just look at Zillow. And how is it working for you? Well, I don't know. Like, some homes we call them, an agent said it's already sold by the time we call. Okay, I understand. Would it be okay if I connect you with a local professional in West Palm Beach? We do have actually offices in every little town. And well, I'm not saying that West Palm Beach is a little town, but I'm saying we have an office probably within like 5 minutes, if not in the West Palm Beach itself. So would you be okay if I introduce you to a local agent? And again, you don't have to buy a house, you don't have to work with that agent. But again, we have a huge network. We are the largest real estate company in the world. And I don't mind connecting you with a right professional so they can just answer the questions about the houses. Maybe you can find a house, right? So you go any way you want. Like it's really, it's not going to be a conversation about how many buyers you have. This is just the segue. This is just the beginning. Like, why are you here? Like, why are you here in front of my door? Like, you better have a good reason. Like, I don't want to use you as my agent. No, if you come here to ask for business, no, next. Like, but if you just like, well, if Catherine is the one who's, they have all the buyers, man. One day, maybe not now, but when I'm ready, I want to talk to someone who has the buyers. Like and again, not someone who is the nicest, most kindest, and best looking, or usually for the most part, sellers want buyers. Period. They might be saying something else. Like when you ask the seller, like, what are you looking for in the real estate agent? Like when you sit at a conversation, you might ask them, and they say, oh, I need someone who's going to be trustworthy, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, all they want is to get their home sold for the top price, right? And I yesterday during my walk with the dog, true story, last night I'm walking with my wife and Charlie, and this lady who called me of my first sign in our neighborhood that went under contract. And I've been mailing in this neighborhood for the last 3 years, 0 results, not a single phone call. And I got my first sign as a result of my building relationships with some neighbors. And I get a phone call saying, hey, I want to sell my house. Like I almost had a heart attack. I ran to the house, says, oh my gosh, I'm going to get another listing. Well, obviously what she's doing, she's calling every agent, whoever sold a house in that neighborhood, and she wants to do like a private sale. But so yesterday, as we walking with the dog, I see she's walking with the dog. I say, hey, how are you doing? It's like, good to see you again. So I said, are you done with your interviews? And she, I have a few more. She probably like had 15 agents already in her house. And she bought another house in the same neighborhood. So she wants to sell hers now. But so long story, but like, that's how it works, right? You mail or you do door hangers, then you walk the neighborhood and you'll be getting business. It's kind of, you do all things together. All right. We have about 10 minutes. What questions about door knocking, comments, or anything that you want to talk about? Okay, let me ask a question. Will any of you will be doing door knocking?
I will. I mean, I'll continue to do it, and I'll, try to open it up to a larger neighborhood. My issue is my current neighborhood here in Herndon has a very dominant agent. So for me to even get any attention will be very difficult. In fact, the street that I live on, she's got 3 signs up already, just within a quarter of a mile walking distance.
It's really hard. It's really hard. I agree, Marsha.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I was talking to you. If once someone dominates, like some coaches will tell you, don't even touch it. But since you live in that neighborhood, how big is the neighborhood?
My particular neighborhood is about 600 homes.
Oh my gosh, money. The thing is, Marsha, my neighborhood is being dominated now by one agent as well. And I'm going all in because sellers want to have alternatives. For one or the other reason, they might not like this agent who's dominating. Quite often, the dominating agent has a bad reputation in that neighborhood. It's weird how it works because they are really good at discounting the homes to move. So their prices, if you notice, the agent who sells the most homes, they usually sell for less money than the other agents in that neighborhood. I'm not sure if you ever done studies like this, but I'm on my HOA board, and we actually have a meeting today. And I know how the homeowners are talking behind the back of that agent, and they hate her. And they ask my advice on like, why in the world is she selling about 5 to 10% less than any other homes that are selling? and her homes are selling in like 2 days, of course, because she's giving them away. How she's convincing the sellers to agree, don't ask me. Like, I have no clue. But so I think what your neighborhood deserves the alternative. And if you did not live in that neighborhood, I would say stay away. But since you live in it, I think you have a really good chance of capturing half of it from that other agent to be an option B. And you know who your competition is, and you can walk in and sit at the kitchen table and say, hey, I'm sure you interviewed this agent. I'm the alternative, right? So like, you just you can actually, I think, work. I would definitely like having that size of the neighborhood, I would really penetrate and get. It will take some time, Marcia. It won't be overnight, but once you
Of
get
course.
first, second, third listing, you might be, before you know it, the next 3 years, you don't even have to actually leave your neighborhood. You can just literally work in your neighborhood for the rest of your career and have a decent living, because there's enough homes. Well, it might not be enough. Like, how many homes sell in your neighborhood a year? About 20, 30?
Oh, now it's starting to really pick up, but yeah, I would say what's less than that actually in my particular neighborhood, but then there were surrounding neighborhoods add another, let's say, additional, I guess, a 5.
We lost you, Marcia.
Right around each other. I mean, there's a potential for well over 1,000 homes when you look at all the neighborhoods that are on this one area off of Drains Hill Road and here.
Mhm.
So
The one mistake that some agents make, and including myself, I made that, like where you go too wide and you spread too thin, right? So like Vinny, what you're doing is, I think, is great. The only concern that I might have is, like, are you touching them often enough? Like, is every other month is enough? Like postcard campaigns and any drip campaigns, based on all the science, they say it should be once a month. So maybe your results would be better if you would saturate that one neighborhood instead of casting a wide net, just saturating more flyers into the same neighborhood, doubling down, right? So instead of covering 2,000 homes every other month, covering 1,000 every month. Again, I don't have a perfect answer, but all the science indicates, studying the marketing, that people, like, you need to be touching them at least once a month, right? And then I remember I hired one marketing guru years ago to create a brochure for me. Hobbs Herder, I think he's on the West Coast, really fantastic, has a large marketing organization. And his plan is very similar to like what Keller Williams, I think, copied from them. It was like, first 8 weeks, you do once a week. You want to saturate, like you want to be recognized, you want to be noticed. And then you go to once a month. But according to Hobbs Herder, it was every 3 weeks, not every 4 weeks, every 3 weeks. It's so just see, Vinny, if it's working, continue doing it. But if not, you might want to refocus and say, hey, let me just oversaturate that 1,000 homes. And if it's working, as we discussed earlier, your return on investment is positive, you double it. You add another neighborhood to it. Like one of my coaches kept telling me, Art, if something is working, build a big fence around it and don't let anyone touch it, and don't listen to any advice from anyone else. If it's working for you, build a big fence around it and do it again and expand it. Make sure that's safe, that's protected, and it's working, and then expand it. So, and if it's, I don't know, like I haven't had door hangers. I know many of agents had done that. So I don't know, like maybe it's enough. once every 2 months. I don't know. You'll tell us, but Vinny, because you're doing it, you'll be able to share with us. And if it's maybe door hanger is something that works differently. Now, I guess the key that I know, I'm 100% sure is if Vinny adds walking in the neighborhood with the dog and with a kid or grandkid, and then the people see the door hanger, and then they see for sale sign, this is it. This is by the book. Like people, based on all the marketing research, they need to see you about 7 times in order to notice you. So if you watch television, you're gonna see like Geico commercials. They will run and run and run and run. And some insurance companies, they never run it. You know why? They might run it, but you didn't notice it. If you don't see something 7 or 8 times, you're never gonna remember. So that's where if you come through door hanger, if you come through your face to face, and plus you add the sign, you already have 3 expressions. And then you repeat them, you keep driving, keep seeing the same sign, you might get those impressions, maybe 10 a day if you keep passing the same sign. So that's where you start noticing things. And Vinny, like this is money. You want to have as many directional signs on every corner, like directing to, like you want like to make it look like Vinny's selling all the houses there. And all one house is enough. You really have to leverage this. And when you sell the house, keep those signs up for as long as you can to get more calls.
Now, Art, where do you recommend for some of the best, the ones that you've used for getting the signs created? Where are some of the better vendors to use?
Oh, so there's guy in Sterling, local guy. I use him to make the signs, but when I used to order like a lot of signs, I would order from like companies outside of here, like you'd be cheaper. But if you order 20, 30 signs, right? But if you order 2, 3 signs, what is this sign?
I've heard of his name and I'm trying to think of what his name is.
Yeah. I
Ken
use him.
Oakley.
He's right in Sterling. He does good quality.
Ken Oakley. Is that
Yeah,
who you're
Oakley
thinking?
was the other one.
Signs. Is he in Sterling?
Yes,
What's his name?
Ken Oakley.
And what's the name of the company?
That I don't know. I think I get a thing every other day from him.
Do you have a website for him or a phone number?
It's Oakley Signs.
Ley Oakley?
I don't know where I have his number.
Okay, I'll look him up though. Okay.
So a sign of class. He's on Dogwood Street in Sterling. 703. I'm gonna paste it here. 406-9198. I used him for the last, I don't know how many years. And it's local. You don't have to ship anything. You go into his shop. He has a shop in his like back, like a garage, and just a local Sterling guy. Okay, so his name is Marvin Miller.
Right, Marvin does too.
Yeah, Marvin Miller. His cell phone is, okay, I don't know if this is the cell phone. I have 2 phone numbers for him. 703-929-3067. So I have a couple phone numbers for him. Really good guy. Like I actually he designed me signs too. If you really want like a fancy design, you can go outside but he is good. You just have to give him logo, your picture, and he is gonna, you're gonna sit down with him. He will move it around. What is it? It's just like a template, right? Like you put your picture and logo. It's really not that complex. But I would use him, Marvin Miller,
Okay.
good quality. Just order 3 signs or whatever. Won't be any shipping or anything. Local guys, support local business. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you guys. You were awesome. I will
Thank
see you
you.
later.
Thank you.
Let's go do some door knocking.
Thanks. Bye.